way model haragadi kay hainai khangai khuna robot naurengi magi fashion period ama tawdori ye model adu yawi kiti ngangnai wani ko isam samna habda manipur hujik fashion gi hadi robot naure maming chalidana the model haragadi kay hainai wakhanda lakeba model habit kaigumba magi model samnari yumam sabagi yumgi mai model sini dagi
structure puthokpa
structure do puthoi do nang model ama haik tadi kaigumba mawong ama da uti ulap tuine ba nangonda ula oidra model do sini haragadi diagram oni yekera natraga picture oina utkera natraga symbol khana utkera natraga nangna khara arrow khara semaga natraga circle khara semaga punjalaga taraga utkera kaigumba some pictorial representation amadi ulak toine ba that means that is the structure of the masagi nangi project or nang the structure of the object gi oidoine ba so samane model data model haidi data dugi structure neba that means how the system will look like after implementation that means how the data are going to store in the system after implementation habdi data do kamana system the store tawdoino implement tawra matungda habdo adu dubu define tawbudu data model haiba data element jawgani relationship between the tables between the data elements adi samna haida nang table gi form da data do store tawda di table anga table anga gi relation lakani ko ngahan primary key ka haigibdo then data jing do haidi data model na utoije like so how data is stored and connected and access kamina access tawni and kamina update tawni data jing do through database management system da software gi through da MySQL gi through da or Oracle gi through da kamaina data jing do represent tawdoino my structure du kam among do oidoino haibadubu in the form of a symbol gi form da utkera nataga text gi representation gi form da utkera adu jing dubu organize oiba mong da amaga data jing communicate tawnabagi mong da utpa dubu that model is known as that structure is known as data model harakadaba yare ko khangani ko the definition aina sida haji data model is the modeling of data description data semantics and consistency constraints of the data it provides the conceptual tune the concept to never the structure to never for describing the design of a database design do si oiba yai haiba magi structure upado at its level of data extraction yare ko data model hai that is a description duni that is a structure duni how the data are stored in the database through the Dbms dagi adu represent tawbo mong duni yare data model je makhan mayam ama lei thaina ngai gi oina di hujiki oina di data model je makhan mari thona khaido matung da extra aina sa ni ma haptan mani older model hana sijinaramba model first one is relational model data model second one is entity relationship data model diagram ka habdo model ka habdo third one is object based data model fourth is semi structured data model cd ka hai na hujik haidi akoina di ka hen sijinade then the last one jina kaino hai kanje da ude hairo blank hareje kana no blank khaiba kana tawre udabra
uyemish
kana no amana blank hareje kaigino maji udabaira kaigino
ude me mai ki dadi
nangi udia kana ude ni kana udage ba
rejoin to ya bu
me mo koi di ui
adai loi una bra tra nang thandoi ta jang kano do mobile do restart am ta tawne system dai tawbra na traga kano dai tawbra laptop dai tawbra mobile dai tawbra restart am ta taw adu yengune amka join tawra sangone ꯌꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯃꯣꯗꯦꯜ ꯃꯉꯥ ꯄꯤꯔꯦ ꯃꯉꯥꯁꯤ ꯂꯥꯁ ꯋꯥꯟꯁꯤꯗ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯅꯝꯕꯔꯤꯡ ꯊꯥꯗ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯗꯦ ꯑꯥꯔ ꯗ ꯑꯣꯜꯗꯔ ꯃꯣꯗꯦꯜ ꯗꯦ ꯑꯥꯔ ꯅꯣꯠ commonly used these days. Okay, the most commonly used is the number one relational data model haije ꯁꯤꯅꯦꯕ ꯈ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯗꯒꯤ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯁꯤꯖꯤꯟꯅꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯣꯗꯦꯜꯗꯤ ꯗꯇꯥ ꯑꯇꯩꯁꯤꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯖꯤꯟꯅꯕꯨꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯖꯤꯟꯅꯩ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯑꯣꯏꯇꯥꯔꯁꯨ ꯈ꯭ꯋꯥꯏꯗꯒꯤ most widely used is the number one and these are the older model hierarchical model network model ko atopa larik khadadi hierarchical model dagi network model na number 1 2 go rambe ai ko kaisu kaide duju aina seda hojik anobagi trend gi matungina sumaina tawe haibani larik aina larik ama refer tawi si larik si maming di noigi syllabus to budi yaude deidadi tawi database system concept aina larik ama refer tawi ko si larik su ai horen adum cover page photo ka pa tharake kanoni abraham silver charts ne henry k fort and sudarshan sumaina tata macro hills kini si larik su kitang adum paaba nungaibdong tawi अदाइदा अदु बुक तो रिफर तौरगनी सेदा मोइदा दमा छि बुक से ओनली फॉर मरी खक पी सी एनी जी जस्ट कांसेप्ट ओइना हाइ द ओल्डर मॉडल द हायरार्की मॉडल इज आल्सो देयर एंड द नेरो मॉडल इज आल्सो देयर दंग जस्ट वन लाइन मेंशन तौबनी को बट आइन हापचले सेदा खरा अदाइदा रिलेशनल data model relation haibasida wahi ama relation haiba wahi ama sizinari relation aidi ngan kai haigi aina relation aiji table je kai ju kaweba table gi maming je atopada kai haina ju kaweba ningjang dabra no
record
lale table aidi relation table or relation haiba record haigadi tuple row do natra record haigadi are ko ai no noi da not chu thagatri malai kan tau da bagi miyum da na ba ji yaw bai mother in law na ba ko adu ana ba yaw bai khang ngasi di sure thagal age noi da sawade ado book tu book share tau tri ba ya
tawdri
ko book tu ngasi share tau ra age kan na ba thegi book to ada relation habidi ke sunate relation haidi table habani ko relation or table database di dbms di maruina release table haji relation hairaga ju adum khangnei query ibe matamda hayeng create a relation or create a develop a relation and hairapai or some have the example there is a relation name student hairagadi there is a table name student ko table ama lai hairini adu relation habidi ke sunate table haibani ko relational data model haidi table gi form the represent table form that means how table is represented table is represented in the form of a rows and column so ko tables kamai represent isi table amani table is represented in the form of the rows and column row column ga form represent tawdra tawi ko adagi row jibu kai kawai bang han aina hagibda row ji sam sida ma hage tu sida row jibu kai kawai ba row ji koina sina row je tuple or record or row ji sam sam ba wahidana koina row haibaneba ko adagi record haraga su khangnei or tuple or tuple haraga su khangnei then in the form of the row and column jibuna kai kaweba column jibuna koina attribute or column or sometimes koina domain kai jo haireba ko yare aduna adugi form the represent adugi form the in the form of a table the represent auraga data jingdo information jingdo store to bodubu aduguma data model dubu that is called the relational data model ko chida hai relational data model is most widely used model in this model the data is maintained in the form of a two-dimensional table hai two-dimensional table ko row two-dimensional di horizontal and vertical horizontal means row vertical means the column okay all the information is stored in the form of rows and columns the basic structure of a relational model is table haibaneba aduna mai maming je from that it comes the word relational haibaneba relation jibu table haire table dona data do represent tawe haina adugma model dubu relational data model hareba ko so the table are also called relations in the relational data model hareji relation ko weba table je सी model जे first who initially described this model Edgar F. Cote in 1969 da mana first describe tarokpa mana puthokpa haurakpane ba ko se dum kano na ge hayeng net kuma thade dum hangbe ai ko aduna sigi model je khwadagi most commonly used ni maruina kano the commercial data processing da hamra yam maruina sizinarami yare that is called the relational data model. Relational data model da maruina koina table habdi that is the relation and we have a tuple haragadi that is the record or row that or attribute and attribute haragana that is the column ko the maina the information store khatawre se the employee id ko employee table ama ina laure employee id employee name job name salary mobile number department id project id ko these are the attributes name of the attributes how many attributes are there 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 attributes are there ko they are also known as property of the table har ga khang ba attribute or contents of the table ko table du content har ga khang or property have table du da kari na yawi do information da yawi do employee id yawi har ta hairo idra ko har ko matam da what is the content of the table or what is the property of the table habam tanda in that table we have employee id employee name job name salary mobile number department id job id informations are contained that means the jingdu kai kawi particularly amam jingdu kai kawi that is the attribute ko attribute neba table du ki property hai tare adamaina tuple ga attribute fill haraga ju khangnai ko silare sidi definition sidi noina pagera paroira sidi aina already explain tawgramni adum kasu kaidre sida haji each row in the table is called tuple haji the row contain all information about any instance of the object amagi magi property duni have the object haita the student hamna hada John student magi John haibagi magi employee id ne dagi magi job name ne salary name mobile number ne the department id ne project id smani yawi ko magi information that means the detailed information to nebu ko yare attribute haragana the attributes are property which define the table or relation ngasai na table gi property haraido hadi table du ke yawi hadi hoi ke su John yawi engineer yawi haide ba ke su employee id yawi employee name yawi dagi employee job name yawi salary yawi mobile number yawi department id yawi project id yawi haibna ma je property or content har khangne yeb ko aduna attribute harabe haijine bu ko yare si kasu kaide ai ni sam sam ba se da ama semani id is kamna hada student have a table am lere khalo student id lere ni student name ko dagi student gi age student gi class tamna have the magi roll number ji 10 ne hairo student gi tomba magi age na 20 ne hairo adagi magi class na msc it ne hairo ko it second sem ne hairo tuaina information khara store tawagi ka that is called the row that is called the column ko attribute tuaina information in the form of the data the model in the relational data model the information are stored in the form of a table that is in the form of a rows and the column in the two-dimensional way that type of model is called relational data model and this model is most widely used model haiba yare relational model yadra yani ko sam sam na kam khali relational haiba wahai du de wahai du ningjangoba adum nasimak idraga ju paikha da hanga ju noi concept adum ina bo hono bu ko haidi example am pirga si definition kasu yamna pibe kasu da ka ta de haiba nang example am just lok chalo example ji just ne row represent tawi sine column represent tawi ado information to data do in the form of a table store tawi two dimensional kanoni way ni table height di row and column gi form da haraga dum yare definition dum dum pira yare next entity relationship data model koine er haido entity relationship haita di kaino haikan the er model ka haido koina that is er model ai dikasina te serial uleje to si er model kawe entity relationship model ngasaina kari table ki form da represent tauba sina diagram ki pictorial representation diagram ki form da represent tauba ko diagram je da sigi teacher hai je kasu nate aina sai table ama hai do student hai gido adumaina si teacher hai ji table am gi maming ni entity sedana table hairo entity haira aneba ko entity hai ji amuk magi si jingjina property haira aneba si ero si pira pira lai jing property jingjina kari no haiba kan daida ngasagi magi kalam maming jingduneba ngasagi teacher ko teacher hai tadi teacher dugi teacher name ko teacher haiba table isam samna haida sidaida sidaida hairoba sigi employee sigi sije in the form of a diagram da entity ki form da ko represent tauge hai tadi tije employee haibaje nang che thara aneba the employee harani teacher gi muhutta adagi employee id employee job name salary aduda la anebu ko aduna in the entity relationship diagram the representation is in the form of a picture or in the form of a diagram ko the NER model is the logical representation of data logical representation ngata ni ngasagi relational data model du data jindo kamaina logically kamaina leige have the aduni represent tawbani sina in the as the object and the relationship among them object have that ding ngasagi entity do object oina treat tor pasidana ko ading ngasagi student do and relationship among them relation hai tari sijini ko teacher ji samna da krai da work to department da work to ni what is the relationship between the entity teacher and entity department hai tadi relation is work for teacher do department da work to adugi sumaina diamond shape ta laiba jina sibu kai koge da magi relationship name hai to ba ko adada cheda laire NER model is a logical representation of data as object and the relationship among them. These objects are known as entities. Ko object bu entities hare masai suna kandana relation object bu ko table hagre or relation hagre and relationship is an association among these entities. Entity amaga moyani gi samna ba ko adubuna relation duna relationship harakwani asondana aina sai table ama khaktang utpawani table ani hum ul tadi table amga relation kamai laini habda samna habda student id je sida yaure atopa table amda ju seme ko student mark haiba table am seme khalo ada kai gumba student id je yawam tadi table aduga student table ga student mark table duga kaina relation lai hai tadi student id ne lai hai deba ko aina table am ko utkhre sidana ani ule teacher haibonga kanonga department haibonga ko the sigi model je kanana first design tauge ko publish tauge hai tadi Peterson this model was designed by Peterson and published in 1976 paper haije ko seda design tawaga mana seda publish tawbani ko ado si je kasunate ma je pictorial to sida haije ER diagram or simply ER model is a high-level data model diagram. In this model, we represent the real-world problem in the pictorial form. Has a picture ki form da represent over real-world entity jing real-world kano jing to make easy for the stakeholder to understand. Kay gi maram da kamaina pictorial representation tawra ino have the understand tawda line of ni ko. Yare sigatani adai seda wahi khara sizinani sizinai je entities haibam sizinare attributes haibam sizinare relationship haibama saidana entities haigadi sona kandana relation oigrani attribute haragadi ngai kalam name do oigrani relationship haragana table amga relation laibado adudu oirani sidana entities haire samna have the entities is a real world thing exist over potune ba samna teacher exist over poni teacher oja haije department hai college am ita de oja leram tamni it can be ko entity je kari oibe ya entity je koina kana bu entity haina ko be it can be a person oibe ya entity name je ko teacher ai je person ora madamni place mafam oibe ya or even a concept amo oibe ya concept su oibe ya ko samna have the example the teacher student course ai je actually exist of dinate course hadu do hangi hado concept ni building department sijing je entities oine lobi ai pa then attribute hai ta di kaino attribute haitadi an entity contains a real world property called attribute. Ngasa ina haigibdo table joida what kind of informations are stored in that table, what are the contents of the table, or what are the property of the table. Harap matam daida kalam name jing do haraidana adumaina ngasagi entity gi mai property haitadi aina table gi form da represent tawtadi teacher haitadi teacher ji da kalam kya yawi 1 2 3 4 5 kalam yaram ne ba ko ado ER diagram dadi maji attribute haida aneba ko ngasaina sonda relation da jo haigibdo table da jo attribute kawi tuple kawi ka haigibdo sidana teacher name maji attribute lani, then the teacher ID, salary, age, mobile number. These are the attributes. That means the property the property of the teacher. What is teacher? Teacher is an entity. Relationship have the likewise teacher have an entity. We have another entity that is known as department. Department have two attributes. That means property of the department. The attribute name is department ID, department name. And what is the relationship between teacher and the department? Teacher works for department. Teacher ji kai thabak tawi department da thabak tawi. Thabak tawi bumdo kari karai da thabak tawi thabak haita di adu that is the relation lakte ba mo ni do link to teacher ga department ga link to raini which kind of property it links, which kind of information it links haita di works for kwa samna the student hairo sidana chigi entity teacher yung the student hairo sida course hairo student ga course kari mari lainai student na course to lawi or student na kori course to tami samna haida sida student hairo sidana MSc IT hairo department to dudi student ke haik to ba ha course haira ga di sida student offer course haik to ba dudi offer haib to kai ode ba that is the relation name that joins between the or that relate between the two entities haik to ba ko adumaina si hayeng tongana lakhini ko husgi just magi model gi type khatang hairak pani model gi makan khatang hairak pani aduduna ER diagram haije how it looks like heda adu khatang khangu ko haidi entity haina amalani then attribute amalani then relationship haina amgala ani ER diagram ama ye ke haita di entity means it can be a place, person, or concept. Some have the student is I example p the student table that is an I can take that student table as an entity. Then the column name of that student table it is the attribute of the student in the ER diagram. Yeah, Nico. So in the above diagram, entities are the department, teacher and department, and the attributes are of teacher entity. Teacher entity attributes are teacher name, teacher ID, age, salary, and mobile number. Then another attribute is also there. The name of the attribute is department. That is, the department is having two attributes. The first attribute is the department ID and the second attribute is the department name. And the relationship between the teacher and the department is works for. That connect these two tables. China table gi form the information store to I just how it look like model like that kamani after implementation the how it will look like have the neighbor ko adu kamana like the data jing to store to the have the table gi form the store to ye utpa model do then china in the form of a diagram gi mong the utpa ko that is called ER diagram ya ni sibo yadra sibo jazu yung to aina student the course ka relationship ka student say the relationship maming dipidre aina student offer course hai offer hai si wahi ji English wahi English language ni kono ne sin da wahi jingja si relationship sin na doje wahi je aduduna student gi ID laire student gi age laire si je blue color jing that is the attribute white color rectangular box mogi representation ju lai ko how entities are going to represent then what is the symbol of entity, what is the symbol of attribute, what is the symbol of relationship adu khangna ulijina entity is represented by a rectangular box and inside that rectangular box there is a name. That name is known as the entity name. Because student is the entity name. Then the attribute is represented in the form of an oval shape. Then the inside that oval shape, the letter, the character is the known as the attribute name. And the relationship is represented in the form of a diamond box. Diamond box the represent the that is the then the inside the diamond box, if that letter or the word is there, that word is known as the relationship name. Just representation the utnabagidamaktani. Then seju aina same to seju entities amko jo hape se the entities id department ga teacher gani attribute hai gana teacher entity gina teacher name silare si amko jo hanjana haire si di yengo no an example je noi khang na baina hanjana hanjana ani hum pi bani ko yare. Next object oriented data model. Object oriented haragadi noi ke hain khalle wakhan se da object haragadi object oriented as kai nen oops kai ne head hai ko noi oops uji data structure noi tamije through c ra c++ ra noi do ji tamije
C name.
c ne bu ko noi oops c++ te amphok tam driba tamaba
Kay Java di tame.
Java oops ne oops either using C++ using Java haina language do khaido khibwani ko Java do language ni C++ hai do language ni ko aduga magi kenoji magi property hai tare oops object oriented ne mogi keno haida object oriented hai tare nang class
Class object na class object na to ba.
Class lani object lani dagi noi property of the class property of the oops hai ta di kai haiba encapsulation data abstraction data hiding kaina mayam lei ko polymorphism kai leitra nei ko nei oops tambada polymorphism concept mayam tawramni haidi one child parent class to gi they can have the child class can access the property of the parent class kan lei ko dumaina
Nei.
adu concept mayam jibu oops object oriented haiba ko programming language p oops hai ps la programming language concept ki wani sin adu gi concept to lauraga data je koina model do same ta di that is called the object oriented data model haireba. That is the object oriented data model je kaino the extension of the ER model never ko id it supports mana support the functions encapsulation object identity ko object the encapsulation mayam support to ba hagi oops ki concept laurakpani na yare ko si je first 1980 da sima 1980 da ko offset magi concept se develop tawrakpani sengna haragadi 1980s da ge yamba hore ko ado offset it is closely related to the real world problem hadi this to closely relate to ko maju data and the relationship to represent tawraktoni object ki through the ko structure the object ki through the represent tawdoini aduna akoina maji kaino magi advantage ama haitare kaino da mana sagi study sagi object oriented data model jadi koina image gumba and video audio loje mayam je database store tobagi magi extra feature ama yaurakane ko that is also exists in the relational data model da ju yawi but adugumba kaino jing data jing yarok ta di maruina object oriented kaino data model je oina sijinau haina gi khogi most kari haitare moje advice to ba haitare more suitable in the object oriented data model da hena suitable or if there is if the in the that if in the data we have the audio video images are there, then it's better to use object oriented data model instead of relational data model ko table ga kano format maina to mo ta object oriented data model oina sijinau hai offsite ta the exam isam sana is the example macha mane programming the concept label the offsite ta kari leramani have the class leramani magi variable leramani ko variable adagi variable haitari sona kandadi attribute oraktoini kaisum natte ko samna haida person amgi id haitadi sona kandadi attribute order relation dadi orakani ko pid hairani maming la ani adagi magi object magi method la ani ups haitadi ko magi method la ani magi variable jing la ani aduna just program macha ma ina hapani samna haida if there is a class name person having the property ko my property haitadi both object and the magi variable jingju property sing ai ko class singi ko variable haitadi sida car name ni maming de magi id sije variable ni de magi method haitadi sije void get details haije these are the property of that class ko sumaina sije koina program oina ibo ani but in the form of a model da ladi kamai lakani model da ladi se lai jitu model da insan hai employee haiba table ama leire ngasai keno da haita di sona kan relation da haita di ko employee table jida having the attributes ko attributes kai lani employee name lae job title phone number salary department id ko ngasai se lai gibdo the employee quite first the table ama ha give do situ employee name employee id job name salary ka haije chiji kamaina in the object oriented di kamaina represent tawada ge haido ko data model da di employee haiba table ama leire ko dagi department haiba table ama leire attributes ta kai kai leire magi name job title phone number salary department id adagi magi method ani leire get higher haibaga change number haibamga like that another object is also there another entity also there that is the attribute department id department name method change department sumaina ani laire entity ani laire ko the sai diagram da seju aina utli dana seju to seju kare teacher employee seju laire ko sijini sije in the form of this in a ER diagram da koina data model do ER diagram da represent tawbani sije amuk in the form of a object oriented ki form da represent tawge haitadi how it will look like haidoni adoi tadi seida represent tawre ko object ani gi form da represent tawre adaida ani je kamaina relationship ngasai relationship ama leigi ko employee works for department haigidra haigi ko sida relationship se karigi through the line no sida maming di pidre relationship ki maming di piroi just pointer ama sijinarani ko link ama sijinani that is these two tables are related through an id that id name is department id same yaudra employee id that employee da ju department id haibam yaure department id haibam yaure adu sigi through the link tawrani ko sigi model jibu kai kauge da object oriented model samna haibda sin sagi relation da harakta di mo primary key haido oidoi sigi table dana employee dana in the employee table department id is the primary key that is having unique property ko that primary key through that primary key we have related to another table department here department id the same attribute is there here the department id will be treated as a foreign key haina haira neba kaino da si department id je primary key o je bani ma atop department wang malan ma employee ji di table je wang malan grabnina outside chibu khoina foreign hydra aduna je di ma je foreign key haira aneba so through this same id these two tables are related for this concept ko si diagram sigi model jibu koi kauge da object oriented model na hayeng a model do er model ye o haidi er nangi data the how data represent the data in the form of the er model haita ding sa er do ye kada represent data in the form of a relation haigata di that is in the form of a table and rows ki form the ye kada then represent in the form of the object oriented haita di sumaina ki form the ye kada gare ko aduna same model do koina different form da represent tawba ani da anda sida haje here two objects employee and department ko object ani leire employee haibam department haraga sidana object haire iko asona table haijaba wani ko ko nai khango wa khanje relational data model dana kari haire table hai or relation hai then ER diagram da di kari haire sai table do kai haire maming
Entity.
ꯔꯤꯂꯦꯁꯟ
entity
ꯑꯥ
entity ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯛꯏꯀꯣ
ꯑꯥ
ꯏꯌꯥꯔ ꯗꯥꯏꯒ꯭ꯔꯥꯝꯗꯗꯤ ꯉꯁꯥꯏ ꯇꯦꯕꯜꯗꯣ entity ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯛꯏ then ꯁꯤꯗꯗꯤ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ object orientedꯗꯗꯤ ꯀꯔꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯛꯏ
ꯑꯣꯕꯖꯦꯛ
object ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯛꯏ ꯁꯤ ꯋꯥꯍꯩꯁꯤꯡꯁꯦ ꯈꯪꯒꯗꯕ ꯀꯣ
ꯎꯝ
all the data and the relation of each object are contained as a single unit ko single unit ama oina represent tawi ko single unit ama oina representative the data encapsulation hai encapsulate tawra thamba or data hiding kai do adujing do laktoini then the attribute like name ko sina attribute ni name je job title ko of the employee and the method will be performed by the object as stored as a single object ko yare ko sijing di kesu then these two objects are connected through an ID that is a through a attribute name that is the department ID yare si khange jeju wahi jamu hanjana ibani aina wahi oina mu ibani noina kaigumba paabada understand tawnabagi si amu tawaroi ji yare si wahi next number 3 da semi structured data model sigi semi structured data model jidi maru and khoi di kahena di sina de masije kai da sina ge da web based data source ko web based oiba kaino daida database yaudaba mafam haitare web based kumba aduma daida ayamba sijinei ko and sida haije maji different from the other above three data model dagi maji different or this type of data model is different from other three data model ko aduna maji semi structure ko data model allows data specification at places where the individual data item of the same type may have different attribute sets ko sai single unit ta sai data jing do single unit ta store to do se different attribute set store to ba ya ko si je xml no xml ine he tabra
ꯇꯥꯏ
ko xml ko the extensible markup language is also known as xml is widely used for representing the semi structured data ko xml da masi je sijinai have xml do maruina ma semi structured data model har ga khangne ko although xml was initially designed and for including markup information to the text document, it gains importance because of its application in the essence of the data. Ko XML da ayamba maje XML haragasu khangne ba extensive markup language haragasu khangne ko maje web basing da XML je krai da ayamba sijinai noina HTML da XML sigumba je ayamna web based application da sijinadra adu jingdu da dubu kai gi mo aduma dain to design to model dubu semi structure ko data model harakhaneba semi structured data model is evolved form of relational model gi magi change or grown up form nebo ko si dang dum tawga to makha jide hap da zum yare ko the next asa ina have the older model ariba khara lay have the model hierarchical data model hierarchical haita di kai aina khalina wakanda my hierarchy structure haitadi in the form of a tree structure ko root lairani root tagi magi leaf magi branches lani ko that means one root is there and one root can have many branches but all the branches can have only one root am khatang oidra oi ko aduna maje kai hain khana ge tree structure ha ge khang tree like structure ha ko aduna sije maru ina kra wai da sijina ge am da ha ka da relay magi keno je design je model je ka
ꯎꯞꯁ
food
ꯀꯨꯝꯕꯗ
recipe ups ju sijina bado ups khadi sijinai nogi keno gi da parent and child relationship ki da sijinai ko haidi
ꯑꯧ
parent class laire parent class can have many child classes ko child class me am lebe yai but those child classes can have only one parent ama khata hoi doi neba adu
ꯑꯧ
concept to ko hai parent ama bu child ama bu my parent me am oi be abra ne yade
ꯌꯥꯗꯦ
only one parent is there ko adu mai concept to the my hierarchical data model sam na have the company am laire company jigi jaida magi department ahum laire IT department marketing department finance department ko then IT department the employee A haibam thabak tawre, employee B ju thabak tawre, then marketing department the employee C, employee D haiba laire, financial department the employee E, employee F se laire ba. Ko asmai thabak tawre. Ada employee A jina magi parent class ko ma jika da report tawdoino IT department da report tawdoina tra. That means employee A cannot work under the marketing department. Marketing department makada mana work tawbi yaroi ba. Ko sumaina magi parent am khatang leibje. Ko parent am khatang leibje. Sibu kai hierarchical or parents and relationship or one to many hainaga ju khangne relationship ta mayam laidana one to one, one to many, many to many. Asi khangraba noi khangraba relationship ki magi
Khang.
khangi ko ado sije one to many neba magi one root laire have many childs but these childs have only one parent ko parent di am khadana tra aduna maje one to many relationship haire ko adugumba data do represent tawba matam daida kai haina ko hai kan daida hierarchical data structure istam samna haiba se ju shoes ani thong khaide koina women shoes haiba ne men shoes amne for high heels women gidi high heels kumba bellies kumba lairani men gida sport shoes sneaker ain laire the high heels je krai dikana na tongdoino women na tongdoini sigi diagram je di men na tong ya bro ma shoes je yade ko
Yate.
aduga adagi women do kari makha category line shoes ki makha da line ko that means magi part che one way oiba ko ama khatang part che ama khatang oiba haidi one part oiba si shoes na lani women lani heel lani part am khatane magi atop different way da chatte haiba na se jo hierarchical data model was the first Dbms model to thaninga da khwai sijinaramba model ne ko hujiktabu relational data model na loi singraba wane ba concept se aduga hujikti amuksu web based oitadi database yaudabida ngasai semi structure haido adu amuk lakpa horabani ko semi structure jam tawrabani nagi keno xml sijinarakta de semi structure oidoini adan si database yaudaba kang maruina database yam yaudaba database pra backend oina ka hena yaudaba kang gini semi structure haije khadi yauni duju fully database do my backup oina leitabdo backend oina leitabdo ko ado si xml jo hujik semi structure jo si concept tawrabani ji adagi mostly sijinai di relational database model duni sijinai je hierarchical ji di thangi all version ore hujika and sijinadre this model organized the data in the hierarchical tree structure. The hierarchical starts from the root, which has root data, and it expands in the form of a tree, adding child nodes to the parent node. This model easily represents some of the real world relationship like food recipe, site map of website. Sima kanda sijine haba. Yare sima the one to many haita hama khango the parents and relationship haita ding asagi kano do inheritance upse inheritance hai ko sije hangi ko inheritance khangi ko
Khang.
inheritance ki concept ni ko parents and relationship hai je adugumba data model the data yawo matam da sijina kani hierarchical jing je yare next network data model education na teng sagi hierarchical gi maje improvement ni adi hierarchical da di kaidawi one to many oi ko relationship to id one parent can have many child oirakpa sidai mu network ta di network haita di ke haita re network noina network haiba kanda kai haina khalli it can be accessed by many
Connection.
connection to many oirakpa yai natra
Uh.
sidana am kai lakeda many to many concept hapsalaktoiba ko masai one to many haibani the extra feature ama hapsalakani one to many ju leijagani concept as well as many to many lakaneba that means mana more advanced form of hierarchical model. This model is an extension of the hierarchical model. It was most popular model before relational model. Relational model is the most popular. This model is the same as the hierarchical model. Hierarchical model is but the only difference is that record can have more than one parent parent amade hen lebe yaiba isam samna haiba si example ji da si diagram the student ji nang ji si cs department ha si MSc IT hairo student je MSc IT gi student ore then maje library gi department na MSc IT hara adagi library ju sangina library ju ma access tawina library ju sijinaina mana adudi that means this student can have more than one parent ko parent ani suraktra seda
Sure.
MSc IT haiba department amga then as well as library department haiba amga ko sumaina that means one way ju dum oibe yai sidagi lagana college kai college da tamino haiba dagi my CSC department my MSc IT ni ko MSc IT du student ni hare si one way ore adai mu opposite way da yenkhalaga di student is from the MSc IT department as well as from the library he use library information ko adumaina more than one relation laeba that means many to many ju laeba sigi case buna kari kauge sigi type models bu kai kauge da network data model isam samna haibda school hairo school do college hairo seda teacher 1 teacher 2 teacher 3 teacher jina samna haibda ai ji noi class sangi ai ji teacher 1 ni I am teaching both noge MC ge MSc ge class ama khatang punjana lauramni na aina class 1 khatang hairage ba ko I am teaching as well as PGDC joita eba that means teacher 1G can be the parent of MCA MSc IT as well as PGDC gi ju
PGDC.
oireba adagi ani access tawtra teacher 1 ja ko adagi teacher 2 samsan ojama majina mu noi MSc MC juta eba atopa BC juta eba or PGDC juta eba adoita di maji kanagi teacher oire many laktra
Manila.
many like ko adumaina many to many ko adumaina lakpajibu that is the network model that is the improvement of or extension of hierarchical model ko hierarchical model gi extension ni and this model is widely used and the most popularly used before relation data model thoktingai da di si most widely used oiramineba relation data model thorakpadai di table gi form da relation do many relations ju yare ko adada lakbone the ability to merge more relation haije then many parts haije parts magi parts yong si samna si gi class 2 gi parts magi kamai lai school lai teacher lai class 2 lai adiga to part amna kamai lai school lai teacher 2 lai class 2 lai adudi many part la adra sega are ko si concept sibuna network model अतोप मॉडल मयाम अमजु यावे अदु जो अतोप जिंग लोय तोखथोखरो सिगी मरी मा सि पादि मोर देन इनफ सिदिं खांगदि अदुना सिगी तरुक से सिजिमा खांगजलो यारे सिबु तोरजिना
Yay, miss.
नोगी केनो दो आई थागतरी थागला ngasi थागतलागे ngasi लाइक ते हुजि दुम थाजलागे अदुगा नोगी नोट सिंग दुम थागलाखिगे